Hello everyone. We are going to start with another lecture of performance management, and in this lecture we are going to deal with the concept of relevant costing, and we will do one question of that. John Robertson is a self-employed builder, right? Let's start reading the requirement first. The requirement says using relevant costing principles, calculate the lowest price that John could quote for the customer building work. Explain your treatment of each item in the accounting estimates. Now, this actually means what? See, whenever the question says that the lowest price always means the relevant cost. You have to identify the relevant cost because there will be no cost less than relevant cost, right? So you have to tell the minimum cost, you have to tell the quotation for the lowest cost, and you have to explain why you are considering any cost to be relevant or irrelevant, right? So let's begin this question. Let's start with this question. Let's see what we can do here. John Robertson, a self-employed builder, has been asked to provide a fixed price quotation for some building work required by a customer. Robertson accountant has compiled following figures together with some notes as a basis for the quotation. Now these are few costs which has been prepared by the accountant. The first one is direct material, and the question says that the this project will require 200,000. The first cost is bricks cost, and 200,000 bricks will be required for the company, and company will buy them at 100,000, 100 per thousand, and 200,000 brick will buy company will buy at 120 per thousand, and for both there is note number one given here. So let's read what is note number one here, right? It's very important. The contract requires 400,000 brick. That we can see, that we can easily analyze by this question, that we altogether we need 400,000 bricks, right? 200,000 are already in the stock and 200,000 will have to be bought in. Now this is a very important requirement because in the previous lecture we discussed that there are two stages, there are two options. The first option is company may have certain quantity of material and company may not have. If company do not have any quantity of material, then it will buy, and if company has certain quantity of raw material, then we have to see whether it's available or not. So try to watch that lecture in case you are unable to recall that. So company in total need 400,000 bricks. 200,000 are already in the stock. This is the first part, and 200,000 will have to be bought in, right? This is a standard type of brick, right? And which is regularly used by the company, right? That is in regular use. The 200,000 in stock were purchased earlier at the price at the rate of 100 per brick, 100 per 1,000 brick. Now 100 per 1,000 means 100 divided by 1,000. That means the overall cost is $0.1 per brick. The current replacement cost of this type of brick is 120 per 1,000, right? So replacement cost is basically the market price, right? Replacement cost is basically the market price. So the question is saying that look, if now you go and buy that brick, then it will cost you around 120 per 1,000. So this cost is basically the cost which has already been spent in past. So whatever cost you have already spent in past is usually, not usually, it's a irrelevant cost. Why? Because this is a sunk cost. So which cost is going to be relevant? This 120 per thousand is going to be relevant because this is a cost which company will bear, company may bear in future if company try to buy the material, right? If the bricks in stock are not used on this job, John is confident that he will be able to use them later in the year. So John can use these bricks later in the year. So what we can do is let's try to adopt a different approach. Let's try to calculate relevant cost of each expense or each cost one by one. I mean, let's try to calculate the relevant cost of brick. Just a second. Let's try to calculate the relevant cost of brick, right? And then we will read the remaining question later, right? So altogether we need 400,000. Let's make a working here. Working number one. We have we need we need 400,000 kilograms. Available material is what? Available material is 200,000. Available material in available material and in regular use. So 200,000 is available, but that is a standard type of brick which is regularly used by the company, and the price of this is 12 per thousand, 120 per thousand, right? And there is some material which is not available. So if a material is not available, we have to buy that. So if you want to buy that, that means what? 200,000. You still have to be a $120 cost, right? So what will be the, oops, sorry, what will be the overall cost? 120 times divided by 1000 is 0.12, multiplied by 200,000, it's 24,000. So both will cost around 24,000. But the reason is different. Sorry. Reason is different. Reason is what? One material is not available and we will buy that, and one material is available but that is in regular use. So if that material is in regular use, then definitely we need to replace it from the new supply of material. So this is basically the relevant cost of material. So relevant cost of material of brick is $48,000, right? Now what's next? Other material. 5,000, you have to go for note number 2. Other materials will be bought in as required. Now try to identify this, whether this material is available or not. Company will buy. So this material is not available. This figure represents the purchase price. Now initially in my video I told you guys that purchase price is always irrelevant. But this purchase price is not representing the past cost. This purchase price is representing the amount which company will pay in future in order to secure this other material, right? So in this case, relevant cost will be same 5,000, right? So relevant cost of other material will be 5,000, right? Now what's next? Uh, now there is a skilled worker. Mm, bricks done, other material done. Now we are moving towards the skilled labor. Skilled labor is 3,200 hours of skilled labor at the rate of $12 per hour. The accountant has calculated cost to be 38,400. Now we have to see this cost with reference to note number 3. Let's see what is given in note number 3 here. Now this point is important. Robertson will, this point, Robertson will need to be on site while the building work is performed. Robertson is who? Robertson is the contractor or constructor, the person who is actually constructing the building. He therefore intends to do 800 hours of skilled work himself. Now, how many hours of skilled worker do we need? We need 3,200 hours of skilled worker, right? So, what he is planning to do 800 hours of skilled worker himself. The remainder will be hired on an hourly basis. Now, if there is in case there are 3,200 hours required, and if we do 800 hours himself, then remaining 2,400 hours will be required, and that we can manage through some external workers. The current cost of a skilled worker is 12 per hour. If John Robertson, so these workers will be hired at the rate of 12 per hour. If John Robertson does not undertake the building work for the customer, he can either work as a skilled worker for the other builders at the rate of 12 per hour, or spend 800 hours completing urgently needed repairs of his own house. He has recently had a quotation of 12,000 per labor for labor to repair his home. Now, you may pause this video and try to think at your own that what we can do, what we should do with this point. See, the situation is simple. Let me write it here. 3,400 hours are required. 3,200, 3,200, yes. 3,200 hours are required, and out of 3,200, 800 John Robertson wants to work, and 2,400 will be hired by the company. other worker, right? So there is nothing wrong with hiring new workers. We will hire new workers at the rate of $12. Now the question is what amount, what will happen to these, let me write 12 per hour. Now the question is, shall we do we need to include any cost of these 800 hours which John will work? See, what is the situation? John will work for 800 hours for this project, right? If the question is saying that, where is that? If John, if John Robertson does not undertake the building work for this customer, that means if he do not work for this customer, then what will happen? It's saying that he can either there are two options. He can either work as a skilled worker for the other builders at the rate of 1200 per hour. This is the first option. What he can do, he can work as a skilled worker. He can work as a skilled worker for someone at the rate of $12 per hour. Or the second option is what? Sorry. The second option is that spend 800 hours completing the urgently needed repair to his own house. 800 hours completing urgently needed repair to his own house. That means he can spend 800 hours in his own house. He has recently had a quotation of 12,000 labor hours to repair his home. That means what? That means if he work on this project, then the urgent work, which is house is required, will be done by someone else, and for that he has to pay 12,000 hours. So the second option is that in the absence of this project, there are two options open to John. First option is to work 800 hours for someone else and earn $12 per hour. That makes just a second, 800 800 times 12 is 9,600. He can earn 9,600 hours, $9,600, or he can save $12,000 by working at home. Now, which, if in the absence of this project, suppose this project is not here, suppose there is no project like this, what do you think John Robertson could have done? I mean, do you think which option is beneficial for John? Whether he should earn 9,600 or he should save 12,000 by working at home? He should save 12,000 working at home, because saving is more than the earning, right? So, in the absence of this project, John would have saved 12,000. But if this project will come, if John accept this project, then he will not be able to save 12,000. So what the cost he is bearing, he is not paying anything to himself, but there is a cost. If he's working to the project, there is a cost, and the cost is $12,000 saving, right? He is now not in a position to save $12,000. So that saving he will charge from this customer. So 8,000, this is consider you can consider this to be the opportunity cost of John. So 12,000 is the opportunity cost, and 2,400 into 12 is 9,600. So what is the overall relevant cost of this project, this John? 9,600 multiply. Wait a minute. Let me do one more time. 2,400. Sorry, 2,400 times 12 is, yeah, 2,400 times 12 is 28,800. This is wrong. This is 28,800. And let me verify that as well. 12 times 800 is 9,600. Yes. So 9,600 plus 28,800 is equals to 38,400. So this is the relevant cost of labor. Whenever you have two opportunity costs, right, you will always choose the higher opportunity cost. Why? Because in normal circumstances, you choose the any option which will give you higher benefit. So in the absence of this project, if I'm facing with these two options and I have to choose one option, I will definitely choose this to save $12,000 instead of earning 9,600. So that will be a loss for, sorry, that will be a loss to John if he accepts this order. So overall relevant cost is 38,400 for skilled worker, right? 38,400 for the skilled labor, right? Now, what about unskilled worker? Unskilled worker 2,000 hours at the rate of 6 per hour, and you have to see note number 4, right? This is note number 4. You should, I'm not giving an option, I'm asking you to pause this video and try to read this part and try to identify whether this will be a relevant cost or not. See, John employs 4 unskilled workers, right? John employs 4 unskilled workers on contract, guaranteeing them 40 hours working week at 6 per hour. Now try to focus on this point. Try to pause this video and think, what do you mean by this? Guaranteeing them 40-hour working week at 6 per hour, that means we have already made a contract that we will provide them for 40 hours work. These unskilled laborers are currently idle and would have sufficient spare time to complete proposal under consideration. We have given the guarantee that look, we will hire you and we are hiring you and we will pay you $6 per hour for 40 hours working week. And in case they are working 36 hours, we will still pay them for 40 hours. Now the next point is very important. These unskilled laborers are currently idle, right, and would have a sufficient spare time to complete the proposal under consideration. That means they have enough time to complete the proposal under consideration. Now, think, is it a relevant cost? No, it's not a relevant cost because this is a committed cost. So, unskilled labor, there will be no relevant cost. Why? Because it's a committed cost, right? Now, what's next? We are done with material, labor, and now we are moving to overheads. Scaffolding hire, 3,500, C note number 5. This is estimated cost of hiring scaffolding. So same relevant. Incremental cost, simple. Now, what is in note number? What is next? We are done with this part. Let's proceed to the next one. Depreciation of general purpose machinery 2000, see note number 6. See, depreciation is irrelevant. We have already studied that because depreciation is not a real cash flow. But let's see what is given in note number 6. This one. John estimates that the project will take 20 weeks to complete. This represents 20 weeks straight line depreciation on equipment used. If equipment is not used on this job, it will stand idle for 20 weeks period. In either case, its value at the end of 20 weeks period will be identical, right? So this means what? This means that the company is charging a straight line depreciation, and depreciation is going to be charged irrespective of whatever is done by the company, whether company will accept the proposal or not. So see, depreciation is not a real cash flow, so that will be irrelevant cost. So we will write depreciation is not a relevant cost. Why? Because this is not a real cash flow, right? Now what's next? General overhead 5,200 hours at the rate of $1 per hour. See note number 7. This one. This represent the rental cost of John's storage yard. Now what do you mean by this represent? This 5,200. The examiner is talking about this 5,200. This 5200 is representing the rental cost of John's storage yard. If he does not undertake the above job, he can rent this yard out to a competitor who will pay him £500 per week for 20 weeks period. So right now, company is paying rent of this store department, which is equals to 5200. This 5200 will be irrelevant. Why this is irrelevant? Because why this is irrelevant? Because this is a committed cost. Company has to pay this expense in either case, right? But the next part is important. If he does not undertake the above job, that means if we do not accept this order, he can rent his yard out to a competitor who will pay him $500 per week for 20 weeks period. So this is something which is related to the job. He's saying that look, if we do not accept this proposal, we can earn approximately 500 per week for 20 weeks period. So this is an opportunity cost, right? So what will be the general overhead here? Let's try to make a working for here, right? Working for we will do here. Uh, Current rent of store department, which is £5,200, is a committed cost, so it will be irrelevant for decision making. However, the loss of interest, loss of rent is a relevant cost, is an opportunity cost. So it will be relevant for decision making. So this will be 20 multiplied by 500, that is equals to, I think 10,000. Yeah, so 10,000 will be a relevant cost. And 10,000 is an opportunity cost, so it will be in a negative form, right? Now, what's next? We are done with general overheads. Then it says plans 2000. You have to see note number 8 here. Note number 8, this is the cost of plan that company has already had drawn for the project. Now, is this a relevant cost? Pause this video and think. No. Why? Because it's a sunk cost. Company has already drawn this cost, already drawn the plans, right? So plan cost is irrelevant. Why? Because it's a sunk cost, right? Now, do we have any other thing? Yeah. Uh, Plans done. Total cost, profit. Profit, see note number 9, right? What is in note number 9? John attempts to earn a markup of 20% off on all costs, on all work undertaken. So, since the examiner is asking us to calculate lowest price, we will not apply this profit percentage. If the requirement would have been calculate the quotation for this job, so we would have used this 20% markup because the examiner is asking us to calculate the quotation price. Right now it's asking us to calculate what will be the lowest price. Lowest price is the cost. If I'm purchasing anything from 20 for $20, I can maximum sell it for the lowest amount of 20. I will not sell the same product for 19 because in that case I will make loss, right? So this is basically the total. This is basically the total cost, total lowest cost. This is basically the lowest cost of project, right? And that will be what? Let's check this. 48,000 plus 5,000 plus 38.4 plus 5 minus, no minus. All are costs now, so plus 10,000. 106.4. all our costs, so we will not deduct it. If we deduct it, then in that case it will be considered as saving. So this will be the lowest cost, right? So after completing this question, I'm you what you have to do, you have to complete two more questions. The first question is telephone company, or I think tea company, and the second question is the I'm forgetting, I will tell you, right? So there will be two questions which I will ask you to complete at your own after doing these two questions, and then we will proceed, right? Thank you for watching this video. Have a nice day. Allah Hafiz.